So let's go to some of the key points that we talked about right at the beginning of this call, and started with the big question. So tell us a little bit about that.
So the big question occurred, again, I talk about this in the book, in 2001. It was snowing in Michigan. We were living in Michigan in the middle of April. My wife said, you know, we talked about only probably living here for 5 to 7 years, and it's been 6 years, you know, can we move? And I said, well, yeah, sure, we can move somewhere sunny and warm. That sounds good to me. So now I had to figure out how I could tell my partner this. I had a partner. We were 50-50 partners, and I said, you know what, there's only one way or two ways that this will ever actually happen for us to move without the whole thing falling apart. Either my partner buys me out, or we find a way to build a company that runs by itself so that we don't have to work anymore. So I went to my partner, sat there at the local coffee shop, and told her that I was moving and that the options that I saw were she could buy me out. We had that in an operating agreement. She could buy me out, or I could buy her out at any time for a specified multiplier. Or we could build the business, take a pay cut, put that money back into the business, hire the people, put the systems in place, put the technology in place so that the business would run as if we never had to work again, hence the 40-hour work year. So she said, well, I don't know, maybe what kind of number are you talking about? I said, well, I knew you'd say that. Go home, talk to your husband, come back here tomorrow morning at 8, write your number down on a piece of paper. I'll write my number down on a piece of paper, and we'll cross it across the table.
And the number was what you're willing to give up in your pay annually to be able to bring other people in, hire them, use that money to hire them.
Build the infrastructure.
So if you were making $1 million a year, you're willing to give up whatever the number is.
Right. So we met that next morning, passed the pieces of paper across the table, and it was identical. We both had the identical number. So that's what we did. We didn't sell the company. I moved off to Vegas a year later. I stayed for a year and helped put the transition plan in place with her, get it going. We were about 80% done when I moved. And we put that money back into the business every year, every month, that we used to be taking out of the company. We put it back into the business and hired the people, built the systems, built the infrastructure, brought in the IT and everything we needed to have the business run without us.
That's great.
And so that was a big, again, mindset philosophy. It was a big shift in my mindset. Instead of thinking, well, you know, if I'm going to make, let's just say, $500,000 a year, but I've got to work 80 hours a year. I mean, 8 hours a week, sorry.
Yeah.
80 hours a week. Or I make $300,000 a year and I don't work at all. I mean, to me, that was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I'd gladly give up the 200 grand, put the people in place, and go after my other endeavors, including spending more time with my family and personal.
Yeah, and that was the question, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the question was, what are you willing to give up? And I think that is something that, you know, I've talked to a couple of business owners recently who are in that dilemma. They're saying, well, what would I have to give up to put somebody else in this role to do what I'm doing so I can go do something I really want to do, designing the life that they want, right?
Right.
So the transition now is,
Yeah.
what is the transition in this whole idea of working that 40-hour work year?
So the transition, again, it's about half of the book. It's the detailed process of how I stepped back out of working in the business, running the business, letting the business run me altogether. It's basically around some basic points, which are standard operating procedures, what we call the decision filter, which is company first, owner second, employees third, filtering your decisions through that. Something we developed called the decision matrix, which gives you a very clear-cut view of who's doing what in your company and at what level sign-offs need to happen. Again, this is all in the book. The people plan, forecasting plan, metrics, and then the last one, which is the most important one, is increasing owner wealth and company value. Because the ultimate goal of the transition plan wasn't actually, when I did this, I didn't have the name 40-hour work year in my head. My goal was to build an asset that I could sell for a large multiple at some point. That was my whole goal. And to do that, I needed to build company value and owner wealth at the same time. By the way, we took that pay cut in 2001 and started the program. And before I moved in May of 2002, my partner and I both were back to making the same thing we were a year before.
Wow.
And we were working less. In fact, we were both working about half as much as we were the year before.
So then position, we started moving into the position.
The position is the last part of the book, and this is a great tool to use in anybody's company, really. It doesn't matter where you're at in your business life cycle. Of positioning your company on 15 basic points that you should look to go after to position your company as a maximum sellable asset. All right? It goes all the way from margins, putting people in place, minimizing litigation. I go through 15 different points in an exercise that you can take your company through and get to those different landmarks, if you will, or goals in your business. A lot of you will do that exercise. You know, wow, I'm only hitting 3 of the 15. That's fine. Not a problem. Right here, mindset, actions, results. You've got to take action. If you have the mindset to position your company, take action on what you can and you'll see the results.